Welcome back to My Life with Plants. I'm Newman, and we're going to have a look at the cacti. It's winter now. It's December. Well, the beginning of winter, and this is what the sky looks like all winter. It's just blue, a lot of sunshine. The humidity in Japan goes the other way, so we have very humid tropical summers, and during the winter it gets very dry, so it's a 38% humidity, about 12 degrees. So let's go check out some cacti. It's at this time of the year that the cacti look their best. Here we have a what do you call them again? It's an enormous of the variety of, I was going to say turbany cactus. Here they are here. It's the typical form. Well, I kept these very, very dry during the summer too. So they are very drought resistant, that's for sure. And they have a tough epidermis, so it's very hard for pests to attack them like spider mites. And this is the enormous form. So ever since I bought it, it was just this cone looking part here that was all scarred and stuff, and it was very cheap. In the last couple of years it's put out 2 growths. Next to it is a large Parodia claviceps, and another one here. Sometimes I get them confused with Rousii, so I'm not quite sure anymore sometimes. This one here is a Austrocylindra puntia subulata monstrose. So it has a lovely tight small plant. It grows into a tight small plant. It will outgrow its pot, maybe not here but in the soil, so it'll become quite tight with roots, and at that time the growth might slow down. So if you do want more growth, you have to repot it every 2 years to keep the growth going. But if you just want your plant to stay that size, you can just keep it in the same pot. Next to it is this Parodia magnifica, and it was a rescue, and it's been doing really, really well, and it survives out here in the winters. They get down to -8 degrees on some nights. It's perfectly fine, doesn't hurt it one bit. And this is another Parodia. Yeah, today I'm not good with names. I'm a bit tired out, so Parodia. It's not Marcii, it's Parodia, and it's Purpurea. Horstii, that's it. Purpurea. I've had this for many, many years. You can see down there that there's 2 offsets coming out, although I have taken offsets off it before. This one, even in the winter here, it likes water. When it gets dry, it likes a good watering, and it still makes growth even during the cold winter because we have all of the sunshine. So being up here on this high shelf, these plants, even though it's 12 degrees, it feels like 20 up here. It's got plenty of room in its pot. It's actually over potted, so I won't be potting it on until it makes a big massive plant in there. This is Notocactus Lenninghalsii, and it does need some water. It's starting to shrivel. I don't know if you can see there, but It definitely needs some water. Kind of ironic, isn't it? But that's what it's like here. It's very dry in the winter time, and they dry out a lot. They have no danger of rotting because of the low humidity, and the bright sunshine during the day makes evaporation intense. So that will be getting some water. At the back here is a big monster of a thing. I just put my hand there for size. This is Cactus Magdalii, and I've had it for many years, and that one always stays in a small pot. It is very cold hardy and does well even here in the tropics, as long as it's not under the rain. Doesn't mind the humidity. Here is my Esposta lanata, and that thing has really grown a lot. So ever since I bought it, it was only half that size, and it's put on almost doubled its length in a short time. And I do have it in a plastic pot, which was all I had at the time, but it's not my favorite thing. Next to it, and if you're wondering what that is sunburn. We had some intense August sun and it got to it, even though I had shea cloth up here. And this is one of the most magnificent of the gymnocalyciums, Saglionis, which comes from North Argentina, Jujuy, spelled with a J, and there you can have very wet springs, and then it can get a little bit less rain during the summer and dry winters, kind of like here. Here's another one right here. This one also needs a bit of water. It does have sunburn, but that happens at times. Over here is Cactus glossicans, and it has a magnificent new growth here. You can see those bright yellow spines, glaucous blue body, and this one is actually grows in an area of Mexico that's very high humidity but dry, so it's like a semi-desert. Down in the gullies there is quite a lot of vegetation, tropical vegetation, but up higher on the cliffy rocky mountains, on the limestone, these cactus grow. So they are naturally used to humidity, and that's why they grow here well here in Japan with no problems whatsoever. Humidity actually does them some good. It's good for them. Cactus hammertocanthus, and that scarring on it is a reaction to high humidity. You can see here the Cactus glossicans likes it. It doesn't have any damage there because it's used to that environment naturally. Next to it is another one. It's very big and tall, and it actually has a beginnings of an offset down there. So these ones are, when they are smaller plants, they do need a lot of water, or they can die. Once they get to a bigger size, they're hardier. Down here is Mammillaria Humboldtii, which is one of my favorite small clump-forming mammies, and it will flower in late winter. I don't know what this one is called because I haven't labeled it yet, but it is a Mammillaria species. There's a lovely olive green body there, and this one is Magnamama. And Magnamama comes from almost 0 altitude up to 500 meters. So it is very hardy to a lot of heat, although it still does burn. So you got to watch for that. And this one here is, to my surprise, I have no idea why it's still growing, but it is, and it's Sclerocactus unicactus, which is renowned for being a real typical desert cactus, and coming from southern Texas into Mexico. Does not like humidity, definitely doesn't like to be overwatered. It can cause it rotting, and if you see right in the crown there, it has buds, so it's going to put out flowers. And for some reason it's doing well here in Japan. Don't ask me why, because we have extremely humid hot summers with a lot of rainfall. And it seems to be doing well, and it hasn't even hurt the epidermis. So it kind of leaves me wondering if this particular species of cactus has some ancestry of other cacti in its family that come from more tropical humid deserts, kind of like Ferrocactus glossicans here. So that's kind of interesting. You have this double-headed Mammillaria Nasia penensis that is dichotomous in its way that it reproduces itself. So instead of forming a pup down the bottom, it just divides itself in half like that. This one's a bit susceptible to direct midsummer sun, which can burn it. So it comes from an area that's like semi-forested, so it can grow underneath shrubs and that, and get the protection there. And this one here is Mammillaria marxiana that has the beautiful yellow blooms, which I like very much. Very easy to grow. You just don't need to overwater it, and don't give it too much direct sun, just bright light. We got the Tephro-cacti family here, and that one is the one I bought a few years ago as a cutting, and when it was delivered, naturally 2 pieces of it had come off, but we all know that's normal for Tephros, so I just potted those on, and they have managed to put out a new growth here. I love Tephro-cactus for its very amazing flattened spines here, which leave me wondering what is the function of these spines. They could be used for, to cool the cactus off, but not sure there. But we know it's full of glochids, so if you bang into it, you will be sorry. This is a kind of Labivia hybrid with Silvestrii, so it's a very hardy one. I like this one because a lot of the hybrids of Silvestrii and other Labivias are kind of hard to flower. They seldom flower. This one flowers like crazy, and the big beautiful orange blooms, so I'm happy with that. You can see a lot of offsets on my Sulcabutia rauschii, and it does need a bit of water. It's getting a little bit spongy. During the summertime, this is very spongy. It's like touching a sponge in the kitchen. But don't let that fool you and water it more. Sometimes it's trying to go dormant because of the high heat, because it is a high altitude growing cactus, so just be careful with the watering. However, during the cooler seasons of autumn and winter and spring, if you feel that it's spongy, you can give it a good watering and then leave it alone. Whatever you do, don't make that mistake I made and, oh no, it's spongy, and I gave it a lot of water during the midsummer. Can make it rot. It's trying to go dormant during those hot times of the year, so just remember that, all will be fine. Epiphlantha micromeris, and I don't need glasses to read that, the label is huge. And I've been trying to grow this from seed, but it's been a little bit tough for me. But I do have one seedling that's still alive. Each fruit has about 10 seed in it. So it's a nice healthy plant. So definitely the humid summers and that didn't bother it. I just kept it dry. Next to it, this one will shrivel up a lot. It is Ferrocactus latispinus, and it will shrivel right up because it doesn't like the cold so much. However, we'll put up with it by pushing all of its fluid out of its body and wrinkling, which saves it in the end. This mammillaria I still haven't tagged because every time I make a video I completely forget. And this one does have central spines that are black, which makes it look pretty neat. And it flowers really well, and it's tough and hardy. I have no problems with it. This one is a steno cactus, which I've just started to grow stenos now because I really think that they're a great addition to any collection with their beautiful ribs that are all wavy like that. And it has beautiful flowers if you think so. I think all flowers are beautiful no matter how small or dainty or insignificant. All flowers have a function for pollination and they're all very interesting. This one has greenish off-white flowers with stripes through it, so it's pretty unique in that way. And this is Mammillaria prolifera, and it's really become prolific here, you can see. I did have 2 offsets that died back, but pretty sure that that was because this plant picks and chooses its root for survival. So the hardiest part of it took over. It's a really neat. And back, the phone overheated. That's how hot it is in the sun in winter. Quite unbelievable, isn't it? This is a Libivia myadana, and that one is starting to grow better during the winter season. It does need a water. It can be susceptible to spider mites, so make sure you got a nice bright light. Right, lots of air movement. Down there is Wigginsia Erinaceae, and that's a very tropical parodia, so it likes the high humidity during the summer. Yep, I've been trying to grow that from seed too, no success so far. This is the pharaoh cactus that everybody loves, even here in Japan, because of its very golden spines, make it attractive. This is my one and only Homalocephala texensis, or the horse crippler, because it has the tendency to grow almost under the ground, and you just see a small top portion of the apex sticking out of the soil, which can make it quite deadly. And actually I've put it to the test, and I've actually trod on one of these spines. I had one that rotted. It had bad health when I bought it, and I lost it. And I've been keeping it downstairs there. It's shriveling away. I've got to make sure that I properly dispose of it so I don't hurt anyone on cleanup day. But one of the spines, a complete section of the spines came off, and I stood on it and I went through my shoe. Oh, that was a shock. Luckily I didn't get injured. And here is Mammillaria elongata, and during the winter time it looks magnificent. And yes, the very old growth can actually rot because it just gets old. So I don't mean that the plant's unhealthy or anything. Next to it is a smaller variety that I've had for many years, and once again it does have the oldest growth. It could be 10 years old, about 10 years. After that it will die on that section. You just clean it up. Mammillaria of some sort, but I'm not sure. This one is albilinata, so it lives. The weather here grows very well. We're almost at the end of the video. This is another Parodia horstii, the typical form. There's the orange flowers. Next to it is Gymnocalycium beldianum. It has scarring there. That is its dislike for the high humidity, and this shelf is actually no good for it. It needs to go up one. There is one of the offsets I was talking about that I've been growing on from Parodia horstii peppereus. Those are Mahanovichis. That's a cluster of many cacti that need to be divided up. That one there is Gymnocalcium Baruchii. That's one of the hardiest of the gymnos. It can go down to temperatures minus 10 degrees or lower than that. Got my neck bent forward, so it's going to play up on my back. And I'll see something shriveled. Opuntia humifusa. This is its winter. Lots of direct sunshine, and it's really, really, really shrivelly. And this thing will be going into the garden in summer when I set up I'm setting up a garden that's a mixture of native plants and exotics. So that'll be something interesting to watch. And I've finished it. This is Spherocactus Cetaspinus, and it is my favorite flowering cacti, #1 favorite, because it has everything. It has beautiful fragrant lemon flowers with bright yellow, and I love yellow, with red center. So it's just magnificent. Over here, hiding down here, and I keep it sheltered and everything, is a something nervosa, Neoporteria, and the reason why it's behind all of the shade and stuff is to protect it, to keep it healthy over exposure to extreme heat or extreme heat it doesn't like. It hurts it. Okay. Moving along. Some of these Echinopsis will be going into the garden too once it's set up. This is the Echinopsis section. There is another Mammillaria elongata that I've had for years, doing really well. And up the top here, once again, we've seen these already. You can see that on a video. That is the Cumulapuntia retroviridis. Got to get it down too to have a look at it. Underneath all of this stuff, we have more large Echinopsis, and I'll be keeping that pot. However, these troughs that we see along here, so they got all the shade cloth on it, and I'm running out of time, but these troughs are full of cacti, and they will be all potted up and put into the garden. They'll be potted into terracotta pots. Oh, that peg has gone brittle. They'll be potted into terracotta pots and put in the garden this way. Shallow terracotta. So once it's finished, I'll be showing that. Alright. This is it. Down here is just another bunch of cacti. And a lot of these will be going into the garden too, because they can live there. The advantage I have over here is, like I've said before, the winters do get down to freezing, but there's not much rain and it's dry, so I can do that. But that's not everything. It's mainly Parodias and Echinopsis, other ones that naturally come from climates like that. One of my favorite flowering cacti is this Acanthocalicium spiniflorum variety of Violacea, and not only is it a beautiful shaped cacti with bristles, but it has lilac flowers, which are so unique. I've been looking up why it has lilac flowers. There must be a butterfly that's attracted to the color lilac. Yes, there's a nice trough of Echinopsis pups that I put in, and all growing from this one. This is just a hybrid, unnamed. There's just literally thousands of them that we all know of, and this is but one. It can get really columnar, so it can get up to 1.5 meters tall, and big and fat and offset like crazy, and it flowers really easily. So this one would be potted up in a slightly bigger pot and put into the garden too. Lovely pink flowers, so it'll look really good. Alright, that's it, and thanks for watching this update of my cacti collection. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next time. Bye bye.